hold on for a second here.
Yes.
I don't see you. Oh, you will now. Hold on.
Well, let's see.
They should.
We are here. We are here.
What is going on here?
Is that an overlay?
It is. There you go. Yeah, that's what happens. One time without being behind the big boards, I forgot what I was doing. Wow. We're here. Go ahead, sir.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no
Let's put the
problem.
background up there. There you
Yes.
go.
I am Zare, and I am here with my wonderful husband, Imar, and we are taking the journey together. We're also relationship coaches and just enjoying this journey most of the time.
Yep, yep. But like in every journey, journeys have their up and they have their downs. And we cannot act like that we don't have our downs in our relationships, because sometimes our downs go all around. Because in our relationships, there's no such thing as being perfect. And if there's no such thing as being perfect, that means there are going to be times when there are going to be the downs.
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell a little bit about what our vision is when it
Yes.
comes to taking a
I'm
journey?
going to read our belief statement so that I don't get it wrong or take too long. We are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother says, your father says, your children say, or even what Jesus says. We are going to relate. We get the idea that we can be friends, but we can't be lovers, or we can be lovers, but we can't be friends. Therefore, we believe we can marry our lovers, but not our friends. At taking the journey together, we feel the need to relate in a balanced way. By balanced, since we believe your best friend can be your best lover, we mean taking the friendship and sharing on one side and the lover and sexual compatibility on the other side, then working towards creating a thriving relationship, or what are called healthy relationships.
Exactly.
And that's our belief statement.
Well, welcome. We have a very dynamic show today. So I just want to say, go to your friends, go to your families, go to who else today should go to, Sharon?
Your spouse, your partner, your significant other,
Mm-hmm.
your person that you're contemplating a long-term relationship with.
Yes, go to any one of them and go through the process of sharing it, sharing your link so that they can take a look at it. Why? Because we have a very interesting, dynamic, inspirational, but at the same time, sacred thing that we're going to be talking about today. As I spoke of before, we don't always want to talk about the unbalanced, or in this case, I should really say, the part of the relationship that's not perfect. And if it's not perfect, then that one means when mistakes are made, do we look for any forgiveness? Are we about trying to find forgiveness? So we're going to talk about an area today that has everything to do with forgiveness that's needed in our relationship, that sometimes we overlook in our relationships. And we're going to talk about it. Yes, we're going to talk about it.
Our title today is See Me, Love Ain't Enough Without Respect.
Say it again.
See me, love ain't enough without respect.
Wow, let me put that up there too right now. When we put that up there, I'm going to do that. Scroll across the bottom.
Yes, so that's what we're going to be looking at and talking about today.
Yes, that's where today's teaching is going to be a sacred space where we're going to talk not just about love, but about balance, power, and emotional truth.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be opening up a transparent part in our relationship, our own personal relationship. But we know a lot of this is going on in relationships that are out there, especially some Afro-American relationships. We are having this very same problem that are happening. And we're going to talk about it today. And hopefully we're going to find a place of healing in it. Right?
Absolutely.
See me. That's something that many times in a relationship that is going on. We've got a relationship where somebody in that relation is not what?
Being seen.
It's not being seen at all. Somebody in that relationship is starving. I'll say it again. Is starving. They're not starving from attention. They're not starving from affection. What they are starving from is not being seen. That's right. They're being starved because they're not being seen. They're not being acknowledged. They're not being respected. They're not being even inspected to even be seen.
You know what that brings to mind?
What's that?
That brings to mind when people say, I don't see color, I'm colorblind.
Mm.
But yet at the same time, they're standing there talking to you.
Wow. Can you imagine being in some relationships where you have someone that's in your house, someone's in your room, someone's in your bed, someone's in your office, and yet they pay no attention to you. They don't even talk to you. They act like you don't exist. They walk right past you many times, not even touching you at all. They might even stand in front of you. And yet, when you walk up to them, they act like they don't have to move, like you don't even exist. Some of us are in relationships that are like that. There are some of us are in that relationship, and we are going to talk about that. But in this case, we're going to talk about it in a way of the script is going to be flipped. That's right. The script is going to be flipped. Now, I'm going to take my time out and speak a spoken word piece that I created. This spoken word piece I created and I wrote was out of a conflict in our sacred relationship that we're willing to talk about. It happened sometime before, but we thought it was important for us to talk about because we know in a lot of relationships this is going on. So this is not about pride this time around. We're not talking about presence. We're not talking about partnership. It's about peace. Can you see me? Can you really see your mate? Are you really seeing your mate in your relationship? Here's the poem that I wrote. See me, a spoken word for my wife. Breathe, baby, breathe. This ain't rage talking. This ain't ego puffing up its chest. This is a calm voice from a black man, a man who's been reflecting everything around him, but not always receiving the same reflection back. See out there, strangers, call me boss. I know you see that once in a while when I'm out and around. Not because I'm begging for a crown, but because my spirit wears leadership like a skin. They see me, something in me. In that something gives me confidence. It gives me energy. It feeds my very soul. But when I'm at home, many a times, the one place that I should get poured into the most, I feel invisible. Like my power only counts when I'm gone or doing something for you, not when I'm here present. Instead, you act like I'm not even here. I said, I'm the boss at one time in the house, not to tower over you, not to put you down, not to act like you're my slave, but to take responsibility with you, to stand in balance, not in dominance. But when you bowed one time on your feet in jest, after I said that, when a sacred request was twisted into satire, something broke inside me. Because I wasn't asking for a servant. I wasn't asking for a partner, someone who respects. I was asking for a partner, someone who respects the warrior and the wounded me. That's right, the warrior and wounded me. I know your bloodline, my sister. Strong women who lead with voices while the men lead in silence. They held the house down, but they hid the hurt inside. But I ain't that kind of man. I'm not afraid to feel, to speak, to be fully present. I need you to see me, not just love me. We say we're taking the journey together, but how can we walk side by side if one of us always has to shrink to keep the peace by getting loud? No, I don't want a queen at my feet. I want a queen at my side, one who lifts me as I lift her, one who sees the leader in me like I always see the leader in her. This ain't about pride, baby. This is about presence. It's about partnership. It's about peace. So I ask you, can you really see me?
I would applaud, I would snap, but that's a question that we have to ask ourselves.
In our relationships,
Can you really see your partner?
mm-hmm.
And in this case, the seeing means, can you feel his or her hurt, pain, anguish, joy, laughter? See who they really are and applaud them. Or not? And if you cannot, what can you do to do that? Or do you really want to?
Yeah.
Do you feel it's necessary?
Do you understand in your relationship that when that happens, and I know that most of the time it's said that it is that man that is starving that woman from that needed attention, but there are many relationships where it's the other way around.
And in some, it's equal on both sides.
Exactly.
That's definitely not balanced.
Not
It
balanced.
sounds balanced, but
But it's
nobody
not.
is getting fed.
Exactly. There are many relationships that traditionally, maybe from down south, where culturally wise, a woman has led that relationship and the man had to be silent, as you heard that I wrote in that poem. And his words were never really a reflection of a concern. And if he did raise his voice or anything, he was pretty much quite properly put down. You see that in a lot of Tyler Perry movies with mostly of the men, especially the older men. And that kind of starvation that you see on the other side that you're talking about, like in this particular case, Color Purple, that goes to that other extreme. Both of them are seen as mates, men or woman. They're starving and not being seen. You can love someone, you can feed them, you can protect them, you can pay bills, you can even hold them every night. But if you don't feel seen, they will still feel alone. As a person who is a reflector, which is my human design, and that's something you may want to look up, something we'll talk about later on. But my human design is to be a reflector. So I feed off of energy. Yes, I feed off of energy. Your energy I feed off. Your energy I feel. Your energy I actually in turn am sensitive to. Not praise, but presence. I'll say it again. The energy I look for is not praise, but present. Are you present when you're there with me? Are you really in that now current time where you are in that relationship with me? Are you someplace else? Not ego, but reflection. Again, not ego, but reflection. So that means many times you shouldn't be walking in a relationship with ego, but it should be a reflection. What is reflection to you, Sharon, when you hear something like that?
Reflection has to do with expressing what you're feeling, showing what you're feeling, showing what's inside you, giving off that understanding of this is where it is and what it is, whether that is pain, anger, anguish, love, joy, excitement. It's being able to show that.
Exactly. I'm just looking at the people. Thank you for Michael and Randall and Kaylin Tyler showing up and all the people that usually show up. We apologize for last week when we just were basically having problems with our connection and we're out and around and our show didn't even come on at all. That's the first time in the 4 or 5 years we've been on our Black Media Network. We really apologize. But this show we know is making up for that too at the same time.
Yes. Yes. And I was about to say something and it just kind of left me because I was really steeped in what was being said.
Well, you could tell the testimony that many times when I walk in a room Or if there are times that in turn I go to a store or I'm out and around, people will stop and easily call me what? Hey, boss. This has happened to me all my life. I'll be honest with you. I remember the first time I saw that happen as a black man. It was with another black man, being my uncle, who was the first electrician in this particular town I came from. And he did electrical work for the black community and the white community. It was very well known and very good at what he did and what he does. And it was well respected on both sides. Every place I would go with him, people just would call him boss, from women to older people, black and white. Even some young folks would call him that. It was the energy he gave off. And apparently that energy rubbed off on me. It's kind of like if you're around somebody for a long time, you either copy their expressions, their ways, or you actually could pick up their energy and it becomes part of you. It's like a magnet in so many words. Have you ever had that happen to you? You know anything about that for your own self?
I do, not from people calling me boss, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
The children you teach, they pick up your words, your mannerism, and they take pieces of you. We are out. I know. Not only do they give you, hello, Miss Butts, I love you, and what you're doing, they talk about almost everything you did that really affected them. And you could tell by the way they talk, if not someone even said, this is something they're taking with them for their lifetime. So you do know that. You do know that. But you're just called teacher. In this case, you get the personal word, Miss Butts.
And the strange thing is, when you say that, this year I had a group of students, not one group, but several students, who decided to take on the persona of my grandchild. And so they would call me grandma, they would call me Meemaw, they would call me, different things. And I kept having children come up to me and saying, is so-and-so really your grandchild? Is so-and-so? And I'm like, in our community, we all are.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's as close as I've gotten, but no boss.
But yet, at the same time, you understand
I
that.
understand.
And you understand it's not something that in turn you really even thought about.
No.
It's not because of your ego, because you're not feeling egotistical. It's because they see in you who you really are. As for your energy. It took a little while for me to figure that out, really. And I fought against a lot. And a lot of people fought against me about that a lot. Not knowing that you just were reflecting that which is really in you as part of you. And those words were just confirmation. So not to build your ego, but just to be a reflection back to that which is who you really are. Some people call it the confirmation, really.
Term of endearment.
I like that one too, a term of endearment. So because they're seeing something in me or in you that I didn't even ask to show, right? But when I come home sometimes to the place that should pour the most into me, I feel invisible. That's not a relationship. That's a quiet starvation. Some of us are in relationships right now. We are in quiet starvations. Our relationships are not feeding us. Our mate is not feeding us. We are feeling invisible. We're feeling not there. And we need to let our other mate know. I know there's some males out there too. I know you're listening and you may have that kind of strong alpha male, but deep down inside, you still want your mate to feel you. You want your mate to speak something to you, to not feed your ego, but to be a reflection, to give you that confirmation that you need. The same way when you play basketball and football and you love the cheerleaders to the side and they gave you that confidence to play that game. Do they not? I know you know what I'm talking about. I remember, and I'm going to move on because we got to go in different segments as we do this time. I remember during COVID, they played basketball with cardboard audiences in soundtracks. They played professional basketball. To me, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing, but that just proves the need to have confirmation so that you could rise and do and be your best. We need that in our relationships too. We don't need to be in relationships where we're not. seen, and felt that we belong.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
when tradition hits disrespect, okay, we're going into another segment.
Yeah.
When tradition hits
hides
disrespect,
disrespect.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Um, I, I think this is one of those things that's very important that we don't look at a lot. Uh, I come from a long line of strong women. Uh, I grew up in the South. My family is from the South. It was very, by the time I came along, it had become a very matriarchal society. And it's something that I honor. You know, I grew up in a house with, for the most part, my mother and grandmother. But there was a time when there was my great grandmother there because every time she needed care, they would bring her to my house for my grandmother to take care of her. So um, those were things that were instilled in me. My grandfather died when I was very young, but we had a great relationship as child and grandfather would have. Um, but there's a danger when tradition teaches that a man or a woman should lead but not be heard.
Yes.
When men become providers and not partners, when women become the dominance in the household, and there's no balance there.
Yes.
Um, so many of our grandfathers weren't silent out of peace; they were silent out of emotional disconnection.
Yes.
And many grandmothers ruled the house not because they wanted to, but because they had to. And that still goes on today.
And they had to, because if they spoke up, that grandfather especially, and it was then passed very easily to want to do it outside in the presence of the public, because of that's why, folks, racism that exists. Black man speaking up in a white man's world in many of these particular cities, especially sundown cities, he will be looked upon as being trouble. I'm watching right now, sometimes on Facebook, it comes to me through the algorithm, where there are young black males and older black males that when they start speaking up about their rights and why they are being stopped, and do they actually have an actual crime that's being committed, that officer will immediately say, calm your voice down, speak to me right, or say in so many words, you've got no right to question me. And he's just raising his voice. Exactly. He's raising his voice just to speak his rights. But he said in so many words, you can't do that. That is one of the reasons why many times many males in a relationship won't say anything. And I'm not saying it's just down south, though. I've seen that now. I've found that out, even through your relationship with me. But I've seen that some places up north, too, many times.
And, you know, the other part to that is a lot of time those men are quiet, not because of what's going on in the household, but because of how society has broken them, not being able to get jobs that will help them or allow them to care for their family in the proper way or in the way they want to, being disrespected on the job. Those are things that eat at a man. And then when he comes home, he sometimes has to deal with a woman who is frustrated because she's tired, because she's, you know, picking up the pieces. She's out there having to work harder than you would expect her to, doing jobs that she probably doesn't want, cowering to the needs and will of people outside her family just to make ends meet, which the two together makes both of them ill-equipped to support each other
and be a balance to one another. Like in your relationship, your mom was what? You don't mind me saying that? Maybe you need to say that your mom did what?
She was a maid.
And she was a maid.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what? I can only imagine watching that shows what kind of humiliation she had to deal with every day.
And she did with some of them. For the most part, my mother was as they say, a blessed woman for the most part, because she worked for some people who were very understanding of who she was, and treated her fairly as can be.
I don't think any enslavement, including maids,
no.
are anywhere equal and in turn bring liberty
Oh
between
no,
a employer and employee at all, especially in that
no,
day.
absolutely
So
not.
from that end, she probably hid some
Oh,
stuff
she
even
did.
from you
She
there.
did. She did because she made sure that we did not have to deal with the animosity and pain that
Exactly.
she had. We found out, well, at least I found out about it talking to her when she was much older,
Hmm.
and going through it and listening to some of the things that she said. But
Hmm.
she quit a lot of jobs because of the way
I bet.
they treated her. But she was fortunate in that um, there was a few of the people that she worked for that would look out for her as far as finding some of their friends who they knew would treat her and with respect.
So that made it. It makes it hard for you when I say I want to lead with you as being my wife. I'm not rejecting your strength. I'm
Mhm.
just asking you to make room for what?
For yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make room for mine
Yeah.
in that balanced way through mutual what?
Agree.
Exactly, mutual agreement. Friends, real friends, understand that
Mhm.
because that's what they operate on,
Mhm.
which is why taking the journey is based on the principle of true friendship itself
Mhm.
in a relationship. Anyway, we're coming to the time where we have to do what, Sharon?
A break.
Okay, good, because you don't want me to say the words because I always say them wrong.
We must take a break.
We might take a break. So,
But we're not done.
no, we're not done. We shall be back. And when we do, be prepared. We got more. All right, here we go. We'll be right back. Hold on.
Why you mad? You ain't swaggin' like this. Police in my whip must be thought I had bricks. Say I wouldn't make it, but it's happening quick. Hating on me now. When I
Hello,
ain't got
world.
shit, you
We're
better let me
here
get rich.
serving Savannah, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Brooklyn, Houston, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and the world. The best music all the time. The greatest songs ever made, every time. Tune in to Hot 2100 Savannah and get a taste for your ears. Hot 2100 Savannah, serving Savannah and the world.
When it comes to the city, I'm the key. Gotta go to court in the morning for a plea. What you gotta pay to get, I hit that for free. And when I'm in the streets, yeah, I gotta tote that heat. It's hard for you to touch it, cause I stay up out of reach. Talking about ends dirty, I'ma make 'em meet. I've been down too long, I'd be damn if I don't eat. If you want someone to try, I'd be damn if it's me. I see why you mad, you ain't swaggin' like this.
Hey there! Are you ready to amplify your voice and embrace your passion? Tune in to Our Black Media Network, where community comes first and every story matters. We're here 24/7, delivering powerful content on everything from financial literacy to the latest in sports and mental health. We are unapologetically real, reflecting the heartbeat of our community with programs that inspire, empower, and drive change. Join us on all major media platforms to celebrate our unique voices and advocate for the change we want to see. With over 50K monthly viewers, our network is your go-to destination for authentic, engaging content. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change. Tune in to Our Black Media Network today and let your voice be heard.
All right, we're back. We are back.
Yes, we are.
We're going to tell a little bit about where they can find us because I think some people might have been moved in such a way that they might want us, and we want them to want us. I want them to. Yeah, we want them to want us to give us a call, and we can help you
Yes.
from that end, just to guide you more, so that you won't feel like you're the only person in that relationship.
Yes.
We can work it with you in that relationship so that you both feel like you are on this relationship, because we're all are going through that in a relationship. We just can help you move a little bit further towards that way where there's more of a togetherness,
Yes.
more of a continuity, more of a, what's that word we talked about before, where you're in sync.
And see.
No, it's another one, but we'll come up with a minute. Go ahead and give us the
And-
information, please.
You can reach us at Minds at Rest Couples Coaching at Taking the Journey Together at gmail.com. And you can call us at 786 763 1324. That is Mind at Rest Couples Coaching. Reach us at Taking the Journey Together at gmail.com or call us at 786-763-1324.
Just make sure when you do call, leave your name and the telephone number so we can get back with you and let us know where you saw this information at. We got an email address that you can use. Of course,
include that in the email.
Exactly. Include it in the email too. You can go to Instagram. You get us on Instagram. We're trying to get up on Twitter. Just so much that we're doing, so much on the plate. Probably more. Well, I think we both do because you got enough at school you got to do, and you got school break coming up. So hopefully we have a good vacation. Hopefully you and I, including me, will take some things off our plate and enjoy our relationship as we should. Because some of these problems happen because we're not really relating to one another. We're relating to everybody else. Your job, and I'm relating to everybody else, trying to help and save them and all that stuff. But we're not relating to each other well. So you got Instagram. You have also our website. That website's not up at this time, by the way. I got to change that. I got to get back with GoDaddy to get that straightened out too. That's including, but the email's good, so you can use the
Taking
email.
The Journey
And the Facebook is good too at the same time. That's where the shows go
to. J together is Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let's go back to where were we before.
One thing I wanted to say. I just like to say this and reiterate to people that when you deal with couples coaching, it's not an indication that your relationship is in trouble or anything like that. It's sometimes the best time to engage in coaching is when things are going well, so that you can stay on that balanced journey and move forward in positive ways.
Kind of like the same way we do with our cars. We may be maintenance. I'm talking about maintenance because that's what Taking the Journey is all about. It's all about bringing maintenance to a relationship so it can expand, it can grow. And so there's a schedule. We take it to either take 5 or take it to Jiffy Lube so that it'll have the tires turn, all that good stuff. We especially should know and understand that we should do with the relationship because we're dealing with people, human beings who are a lot more complicated, a lot more perplexing, a lot more emotional, especially as Black folks too at the same time, that there's a need for us. Especially if we look at ourselves in a relationship as being sacred. And I do mean we need to start looking at our relationship as being sacred, right? Special.
Exactly.
Right?
And when
serious.
Things are going,
right? Yeah.
And when things are going well in the relationship, it doesn't take but a blink of an eye for something to come in and mess with it. But if you're already in coaching sessions, you sort of have a head start, and you can handle it and tackle it before it gets out of hand, and that's what sometimes leads to divorce and things of that sort, when you don't have anything to stave it all.
Yeah, exactly. I like that too. You know, I won't get into it because a lot of people who are in higher positions, they claim positions like actors, positions like sports players, positions like executives. People don't even know that when it comes to having counselors, coaches, and psychologists, they are just part of their life. They are just part of their life. It's not like they don't exist. They must exist in order for them to continue on the path that they're doing in life and where they're going. Am I right?
Right.
That's the first time I found that.
You know who else has coaches and counselors? Counselors.
What's that?
Counselors and psychologists.
Yeah, they do.
They have coaches and counselors.
They do.
Counselors too.
They do. They definitely do.
They take on so much from other people and so much of that energy and everything that they realize that they need that support system. And every couple needs that support system because it's not easy.
It would be like, thank you for that. It would be like a mechanic who is doing his job and doing very well. He knows full well when there are updates that are coming to the different cars he works on, he's got to he's got to rely upon the new manual that in turn is connected to whatever company is working on expanding that new part, that new system on that particular car. Sorry, I'm into cars. I could get into IT, computer stuff because I'm into that, but I'm gonna use cars instead. And they many times will have to go to manufacturing schools, or many times they'll have to call a certain technician or a certain particular, I'll just say a certain technician who specifically is over that new update of that system, and they have to stay in contact with that person so they can understand and work and repair that new system or update on that car.
Right.
And that's just part of the job. It's not even something that you don't do and go, we don't do that much to think about that much at all for our relationship.
No,
We figure and hand it all by ourselves, and if it goes to a hell in a hell basket, well.
we can get another one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just throw it away.
But the thing of it is with relationships, it's almost taboo to go to someone and say, my relationship needs help.
Yeah.
But you'll go to someone, if your hair is messed up, you'll go quickly and say, my hair needs help. So handle your relationship better than you handle your hair.
I know. It's a satire that cuts deep. During a moment of conflict one time, wife told me I felt disrespected, that I need to be seen as a leader. I'm not because I'm trying to dominate, but because I'm trying to what? Carry the weight with you. And her response was, so do you want me to bow to my feet? Mockingly. And that's just what she did. Would you want me to grovel? And that's just what she did. Yet that moment when she did that, it hurt. It really hurt, because I wasn't asking for submission. I was asking for reverence. I was asking for mutual respect, for recognition. I didn't want a servant. I wasn't trying to save her. I wanted a partner, a woman who sees both the warrior and the wound in me. And many of us Black males know we have the warrior and the wound in us. And the wound may not have came from a wife. It could have came from my mama, in this case mine. Or it could have came by the world, or many times comes around the world that we live in, especially now with this new regime in. There is a lot of pain that's going on, and pressure on our communities and pressure on our relationships.
For a lot of people, insecurity and uncertainty is a wound.
Yes. Yes, it is. And when you carry that in your relationships, and many times it feels like it's abandonment. It turns into abandonment. And therefore trust becomes a hole in that relationship. And I know there's a lot of relationships out there. They're walking in different levels of trust and just figure that's just how it is.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm living from situation to situations. Trust just comes along with it, which is not good, because that also is that fuel that in that relationship, in that time behind closed door, where you feel like you don't exist. You could have a whole bunch of noise, kids running around. You could have TV going on and all the good stuff, yet you feel like you don't exist. You're not even there.
And that's not a good place to be.
No. And exasperating it and escalating it is definitely a form that can happen when someone says, in what? You ain't mad enough. You ain't woman enough. So you want me to bow down to you? You want me to do what you want me to do? Doing for what the person they never did before, but all of a sudden they want to say it in a mocking way. You are asking for trouble. And then many times that kind of escalation is going to cause anger, resentment, and rage. And of course, it turns into many relationships, that kind of domestic abuse that's either hidden behind closed doors, or it goes out of your closed doors and goes into the street. And we know it gets the police involved, it gets your community involved, get your family involved. And we're not going to talk about it. If you have children, can you imagine what they see? And they can carry that on, and it becomes such a standard, how can I say it, a role that they end up doing the same thing.
It just kind of
Cycles
down,
on.
as they say.
It's like a curse.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Wow.
Ooh, I've seen that a lot.
But we need to what? We need to what?
Rewrite the power.
Now, we are in the segment now where we are going to try to talk about solutions. How do we rewrite this power dynamics that's just one way?
Yeah.
You want to start off and help us out? How do we do that?
Well, first of all, you have to take inventory on the type of man or woman that you are. If you're like my husband and not a silent man, then you need to let it be known that you speak, you feel, and you respect, you reflect. And your partner needs to respect that.
Yes.
And need to accept that. And more than anything, need to understand that in order to do that, sometimes he or she needs to get out of their own way.
Exactly.
And what that means is, or what I mean by that is, find a way to let go of either their silence, their own personal silence, or their need to speak, or their need to feel, or their need to reflect all the time.
Yes, yes.
Put things into perspective.
I want to re-emphasize to those who are listening, when it comes the part that in turn he wants to also reflect, that means he may want to go over a certain subject more than once, which is what describes our reflection.
Yeah.
She's looking like,
Yeah.
oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some men like me who want to go over something over and over, which is just another form of reflection. I'm not going to tell you how many sisters in my life, including from my mom, that's mostly what they did.
Yeah.
Go over. I always thought it's because they didn't hear me the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. So they had to go over and over again, not knowing they felt they had to give me a reflection so I could actually hear it. And sometimes it worked. Sometimes when I was in a situation, I was in trouble, I hate to say this, I could hear their voice like a reflection in my mind. Don't do that.
Because, sometimes when
Mm-hmm.
that happens, if you don't understand that that's
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with your partner, first of all, you haven't communicated clearly enough
Mm-hmm.
that's your process and that's how you do it. But if you don't understand that, one of the things that you're going to do is definitely run into that conflict, because it's going to be, here we go again, and
Mm-hmm.
I already know this. Why do I have to listen to it again?
Mm-hmm.
So animosity is going to be built up. So communication is very important, and also paying attention to how your partner does things, so that you will know that this is their method of operation.
Yes, exactly. I'm not afraid to take responsibility. That's another thing that has to be understood in that situation. A brother and a black man many times is really not afraid to take responsibility. That's why he's speaking up. That's why he's talking. He is not afraid to take responsibility. I can't believe we're doing this dumb thing.
I'm not going to say anything
Stop.
about
I'm not. Please don't. I'm not trying to be the king who rules. I don't want a queen who bows too at the same time. Okay. I want leadership means nothing if it's not honored. Again, a relationship means nothing to me unless it's not honored, and that means on both sides. But I want to be honored too at the same time. I want a co-leader who walks beside me. I remember when I first met you many times. You used to walk ahead of me.
I was so used to walking alone.
No doubt about it. That would be the reason why, but I happened to be there. So that means you weren't paying attention to me, like I didn't exist. And I had to bring that to your attention after a couple of times, because I thought, God, aren't you even paying attention to that? And you wasn't.
No, because, habits have to be broken sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you brought it to my attention made me aware of it. That, it wasn't an overnight change,
Mm-hmm.
but it was something that was brought to my attention to the point that gradually I stopped.
Well, I had to do the reflection thing. I had to speak to her over and over again why that bothered me, why it was uncomfortable, why I felt it was disrespectful, because you wasn't even paying attention to it at all. You really wasn't.
And every time you did that, I
and you don't do that anymore.
No, that's what I'm saying. I had to gradually.
I'm not speaking that.
I had to gradually stop that. It's a habit that is learned behavior, and learned behavior has to be retrained. And it usually, just as it takes time to build that habit, it takes time to undo that habit or retrain yourself from that habit.
I want one who lifts me as I lift her. And there sometimes in a relationship where that man is doing over amount of a lifting, thank you, please, you're doing good, I love you, baby, love the way you look, so on and so forth, but he's not getting that back in return, and it's not a balance.
Right.
And that's because the fact she doesn't really see him, or has the kind of maybe built in past subconsciousness that man is to be seen, not to be heard. So in turn, all I do is I see him there, but I don't say nothing to him.
Right.
I give him no feedback. I give him no uplift. And I may feel that he's got enough pride within himself, he don't even need it.
Right.
That still is not even good in that way. Because that's still saying, I don't see you at all.
Right.
Need one who calls out the greatness in me. That's right. In that partnership relationship, as much as she wants, you need to also be able to bring that out and say that and speak that and feedback back into your man too at the same time. He needs to understand and know his greatness in him. Now, we ain't talking about the brothers are already proud and often enough. They talk about the greatness all day and all night. And so you don't need to say anything whatsoever because they already say it for themselves at the same time. And they may, exactly. And then many times may not even say that to you, which is why it's a sign it's one way.
Yeah,
okay.
That's all ego.
Yeah, exactly. And that could be other way too. There could be a sister that's braggadocious. It could be, and that's the reason why you're not seeing, because they're not saying anything to you at all, and therefore, in turn, it's still another extreme of being one way. But we're talking about that balance with a man. Also, I'm saying to you, sisters out there, that there are men out there, including me and others, who need that input, and they need a woman that's in their life or mate in life where they are feeling that greatness from me. That calls that out. I didn't say just say it, but calls it. See, I'm not talking about saying, I'm talking about calls. It's something they see in you and they call it out. Because you're not going to always walk in your greatness. You're not going to always walk in the expansion of who you are. Sometimes you'll need that partner. Or as I talked about, sports people need that cheerleader to cheer you so that you can do better in the second half or the third half or that last half, whatever it may be from that end.
Exactly.
Just like I call out the greatness in her, you need to have someone to call that greatness in you. We say we're taking the journey together. That's what we say in this relationship. And we're saying that maybe that's what you're saying in your relationship. But walking side by side requires equal what? Respect. Not just shared love, but equal respect. As I said,
understand that respect goes
both ways. Exactly.
You can't expect to get respect and not give it. And I have to deal with that at work on a regular basis. There's always somebody who says that you need to respect me. I'm like, but you're doing everything to garner disrespect because you're not respecting anybody else. And so, and that's a lesson that has to be learned. Well, a lot of us take that into adulthood.
In our relationships, yeah. And again, it could be that what we call a cultural tradition. I call it cultural curse in the relationship because it doesn't build a balanced relationship. Where, like we were talking about many times down south, where that man is to be seen, not to be heard. So therefore, you ain't going to be about saying anything. So we talked about that before. A woman is not going to really be doing anything to say anything to you in that matter. And that makes that relationship not balanced. And then there's a need for it to move forward and not operate in there. Both have to be walking side by side. Requires equal respect. That's what taking the journey together is all about. That equality, that balance. Not just what?
Shared love.
But equal respect.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Let's go into this. So our last portion, our last segment. I think we're doing very, very good for this time. Hope you like what we're doing now. We're going to try to go into segments from now on and try to get a compact, sometimes complex concern, problem, or issue in a relationship so we can get it done with one particular hour-long program instead of always carrying on and on.
Two or three.
Yeah, exactly.
One more.
And let us know too if this is something that you like us doing this way. Again, you can always give us a call. But we got it up for someplace. I'll get it up there in a minute. Give us a call, or you can email us and let us know as we're trying to do this new format to move people on to at the same time and really bring some new healing and some good direction that we need right now when it comes to taking your journey together with someone else in your relationship, in your life right now. I think that's very, very important in life, right?
Absolutely.
I think so. Okay, so let's close this down.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is no, bring it down.
Excuse me.
Bring it down.
What are you talking about? It is down.
No. There's another part ahead of this. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
The ritual of recognition. That's what we need to do next.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something that couples or even individuals can do at home.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the things is we don't get together and do things, especially to keep us bonded. Find a quiet space.
Yeah.
We're always too busy.
How about a ritual?
Yeah.
Something that you go through and do that has a significant purpose that in turn brings your experience, so it brings it to a higher level, and at a higher level will hopefully bring something seriousness and sacred about that issue, about that concern, in this case about the relationship.
Yes.
Most of the time, we only are triggered to do that or taught to do that through the four walls of that church. Not saying anything wrong with it, not giving any disrespect for those who do that, but you need to take that ritual. You need to take that same kind of concern and
Exactly.
do it and make it in your
Right.
house, especially for your relationship, right?
Because exactly, we will pray every night. We will do, bless our food. We will light candles, but we don't even make a ritual of saying, okay, right now we're gonna hold hands and just say, I love you. But this is a ritual of recognition, because that's what we're talking about, a need for recognition within a relationship.
Exactly.
So find a quiet space, sit across from each other. If you're by yourself because your partner is someplace else, like last year when I was in another country, sit in front of a mirror. Now you don't even have to do that because you've got FaceTime and different things like that where you can still do it face to face. Say their full name and say, I honor the ancestor in you. I honor the leader in you. I honor the soul in you. Then ask them to do the same. And you'll be surprised what opens up when you slow down long enough to see each other. In other words, we got to get out of our own way and, put the busyness aside sometimes. Because sometimes busyness is an escape. Okay?
Exactly. Now that was a short, what you call like prayer.
Yes.
Or inspirational words to speak, however you may want to take it. I'll say it, or understand it as
an
being.
invocation.
Exactly. All of those are around the area of looking at your relationship as being sacred. If we take our relationship more seriously as being sacred, something that is to be looked upon between one another as being very, very important, which is what the sacred is at a high level of mindset, then these words will be taken more serious when being said.
Yes.
We will then not see ourselves being invisible in the relationship. We will see ourselves as being somebody important. Because why? We see somebody important in us. We might see that father that we knew of and see that in that other person. That mother that we knew of and we see that in the person. Those will move us to take our mate a little bit more serious than it was before. What do you think about that?
I think that's absolutely true. And we must take into consideration that, sometimes we long for the characteristics of people who held us when we were much, much younger, when we needed to be nurtured. So yeah, that's a definite. So as we get to the point where it's time to close out the show, we need to understand that respect is not a reward. It's a requirement. It's not about pride. It's about presence. And love don't mean much if it doesn't come with honor.
Wow. Without honor and being honored indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, good. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So tonight, we leave you with this. We don't need kings who rule or queens who bow. We need partners who rise together. We want to thank you for walking with us. And we'll see you next time on Taking the Journey Together.
We're just a little bit earlier than usual, too, at the same time.
So I guess it's working.
It really is.
We do have our information going across.
Yeah, let's let that go again.
You can reach us at Taking the Journey Together at gmail.com or call us at 786-763-1324 and make sure you let it be known or let us know where you got the information, what your name is, how we can contact you, and what you want us to discuss with you. It's kind of like the who, what, when, why, and where.
Exactly.
So, those are important pieces. 786-763-1324. Taking the Journey Together.
I'm going to leave this right in front.
back to that.